Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Friends Podcast, man. Thank you so much for joining us. And if it's your first time, thank you so much for coming through. We appreciate all the listeners. My name is Matt, and I'm here with my co-hosts.
Hey, it's Jermayne, y'all.
It's Rod. This is the Friends Podcast. Make sure you check us out. We're streaming everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube. And make sure you check out our socials: YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram at the Friends Pod.
Let's go ahead and jump straight into this shit. No need to keep the people waiting. Let's go ahead and get into this first topic that we got for you folks. So, the first thing that we got is, Rod kind of brought a story up to me and Jermaine, throughout the week, and I thought it was interesting. I think it could lead to a larger conversation between, single men and single women, and just dating in general, relationships in general these days. But to kind of break it down to give you like a high level, so what's going on is a lot of women that's freezing their eggs because of partnership problems, and I don't know if that's because of the men. I don't know if it's because the women are a certain type of way. I don't know who necessarily to blame it on, but looks like a lot of women are freezing their eggs. They're getting a little bit too old, and they're like, you know what? Let me just salvage this for later. Y'all have any initial thoughts on this? Do you think that there's something going on where it's like a disconnect between single people these days?
So, what's interesting about the article that this medical anthropologist wrote is that typically the thought is that women freeze their eggs because they're focused on their career, they want to grind it out, like they're not trying to have kids in their 20s, 30s, because they just really want to focus on work. But what she found is that most of these people is really just like they either are single, never had a serious relationship, just got out of a bad relationship, they're with men who are like immature, not stable, in some way like a little bit behind, or that just like aren't ready to have kids. I think it's interesting. So let me say, when I first started work at my previous company like 8 years ago, that was one of the big perks that they mentioned was like, we'll cover egg freezing. I actually
Really?
remember on my orientation, and I guess I can say where I worked at because I don't work there anymore, but I worked at Google. And in big tech, that's really common for women to freeze their eggs. And so I remember being like 20.
I'm mad that's a topic. Like amongst successful women at Google. They said,
Man,
hey,
heavy
we're
topic.
going to host this event about freezing our eggs.
But you know why though? Not to cut y'all off, but it's because women are now in the professional world and like they busy now, so they can't be the homemakers and all that type of stuff. Like quote unquote, how they try to say. So it's like, oh, we gonna offer this because women be so busy they can't have a man. Like it's that type of shit.
And that's what's interesting is that's how it was portrayed, when I first started. So at my orientation, literally one of the girls I started with was like, yo, will you guys freeze my eggs? And I remember being like, girl, we're like 23. Like, you don't need to be worried about
Right.
freezing eggs. But what this is challenging is that, it's actually not about career. Is like, where are the men? I have to say though, like part of me wonders, like, is it really all the men and that there aren't just like the quality men who want to be fathers? Or is it that these particular women like are so focused on their careers that they haven't built good relationship skills?
I think that's a good question. I think it could be a little bit of both, because I do think that, like I was saying, like women are now in the workforce, which I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem with that, but it does. Let's talk about the old trope where the pops was always at work, working 12-hour days, wasn't never home and stuff like that. But now kids got to go to daycare because it's like the man and the woman, the husband and the wife are at work these days. So, which is dope. What I'm saying. But at the same time, I don't think that that's conducive to a super healthy relationship when it comes to communicating and all those types of things. Now, I think that just to kind of, but I think it could be both though. I think it could be that, and I do think that it is some dudes that might, they might cheat a little bit. It may be some dudes that's not really super serious about a relationship right now, or things of that nature. So I think it can go both ways on that.
I feel like in our generation, there's this interesting thing where like, I don't feel like men look at fatherhood and marriage as like a milestone.
No.
Like I think in previous generations, men saw it as like, yo, if I got married, that means like I can take care of a wife, I can take care of a family. Now it's like it's the last thing you do. It's not any sort of milestone. So I feel like that's also where some of the disconnect comes from.
But you know what it is, though? I think that these are the things that we're told to do. Right? We're told that, get a house with a white picket fence with 2.5 kids and, you know what I'm saying, a garage.
You was told that?
We all told that. Like, let's not.
I wasn't told that. I wasn't told to get no
not,
white picket fence, and I'm not the Brady Bunch. Like, who told you that? No, your mom did not tell you that.
What were you told then? Let's talk about it.
Well, what I was told to get an education, go to college, and then get out their house by 18. That's all I was told by my parents. That's it. Anything after that was up to me. That's all I was told by my black mother.
And herein lies another issue, is that a lot of people are not educated about. And I'm not trying to shit on you or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, or use you as an example. But a lot of people don't really have that example of, like, or even have been taught about, like, oh, this is what a relationship should be. This is what a man should do, or what a woman should do.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where the disconnect is, right there.
Agreed. You see it all the time.
Growing up, did your parents have the conversation with you about how to treat a lady, or was that a conversation that y'all had that you're saying?
No.
Then what are you saying? What's the disconnect then?
I'm saying that societally, that's what we're told, like wife, kids, picket fence.
No, I'm talking about what were you told though?
I wasn't told nothing about, relationships that I can really remember. All I could look at was my pops.
That's why I hate when people be like, try to use expression, what the society tries to say, but it's like, what were you taught in your home? A lot of people, it's a difference between what everybody thinks everyone does and what actually happens in people's homes.
That's a good point.
That's true. And I think it's also very cultural. Like, I have some friends. So for example, I know a couple guys who are Muslim, and they're definitely raised that, like, yo, part of the order of life is you get the degree, you get the job. And then once you get those things, you get married. Like, you get a good wife. And I think, I can't speak for every culture, but at least in Black culture, I don't really think that there's a conversation about men having that desire to, like, have a wife, and like that's a part of just the flow of life.
No, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to get too.
Yeah, let's get to it.
I don't want to get Candace Owens on y'all, but
do it. Come on, Matt Owens.
And I'm not this type of. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Fuck the disclaimer. So, like, there's a lot of fatherless homes out here, so people don't have these examples of what it is to, like. So yeah, of course we were told, like, oh, let's go to college, or your mom's told you to go to college, your pops told you to go to college. At the same time, a lot of people are raised in households where it's not, where it's only one parent. You know what I mean? Not trying to down them, but I'm just saying, if you want to see an example of how to do something, you can't see that. Maybe your uncle and auntie been together for 30 years, or stuff like that, but in your everyday life you don't necessarily see that, right? And I think that's where it is, and it all culminates to what we're going through today with women freezing their eggs and feeling like, oh, the men ain't shit, and maybe I can improve, or maybe I need to do this before I do this. So I don't know. I like it though. I like it because I do feel like it's been a lot of people in life that's done had babies and with people that they didn't want to have babies with, and they weren't mature enough to make those decisions, so they just was popping out kids. And it's like, I feel like women are just being more intentional about the people that they choose to have children with and have families with.
Yeah, and I'm gonna speak to the fact that I'm a child of a one-woman household until at least about 8th grader anyways. And I'm gonna say what the conversation was there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's already what I said about, go to college and make sure you do well, get a job, graduate, blah, blah, blah. But it's also, I feel like my Black mother, she put an emphasis on relationship not being as big as a deal in terms of that relation to my career and my goals. She always told me that could come later after, like, in a sense. I feel like that's what I was taught. I was taught that my career and my goals, like that's what I should focus on first, and then everything else will fall into place. So a little bit to what Jermaine was saying, what about milestones? Yes, my black mother, she told me that that's like an end goal. So I grew up thinking, hey, I'm just gonna focus on my career, myself, my goal, and I feel like I've lived that way. Like I've pretty much had primary focus on only myself, and then yes, I do think marriage and everything is and all that kind of stuff is like a end goal after you start to grow up, after you learn from being an adult, learn lessons, just life and who you are before you bring a child into the world.
I feel like that's one of the interesting things too about our generation is the disconnect, because I totally get what you're saying. And I feel like a lot of men see it that way. Like that's kind of what the article was saying, was that a lot of the women in the study who are in relationships, their partners said that they're not ready to have kids yet because they're working on degrees, their careers, their finances. And I think where the disconnect comes in is for whatever reasons, like let's say as a man, it takes you until 35 to feel like, yo, I'm emotionally mature. I got my finances ready. Like, I'm really ready for that. As a woman at 35, you're in geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah.
So there's this like mix between like, okay, yes, it takes a while to hit certain milestones, but also like biology hasn't changed. And so on the positive side, like freezing your eggs allows you to kind of like play around with that and kind of biohack that timeline. But it also brings up another question then. Like, what do you guys think about for women who, let's say in their 20s or early 30s, are like, yo, I know I want to have kids. I'm ready to have kids. Do you think women should start dating older guys?
Personally, I don't see the point. I don't see why, because I feel like I mean, we kind of spoke to this earlier that the disconnect between men and women. I think we all know, or we've all heard that men mature later than women. So I guess in that aspect, if they really want to find a partner that they really can click with and really can, what I'm saying, be in relationship with, yeah, maybe they should go for an older man. Somebody that's more stable, like you said, emotionally stable, financially stable in every aspect, right? I don't necessarily see like this the super crazy point for it, but if that's what they want, then feel free.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like how else do you solve for that disconnect in timelines if you don't want to freeze your eggs? Because so I actually looked up the process of freezing my eggs because at one point in time I was like, man, I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
This was some years ago.
I want to pause before we move on from from your last question there, and I was just thinking about it. So, in terms of freezing your eggs and things like that, and what a man should do, man, I'm trying to think. I'm like, oh, I forgot it. I forgot.
Like you did all that just to forget.
No, no, I had my thought, then I was just like, I completely lost it.
That's all good.
It was a good point. I was trying to think. I was like, what was the conversation? What was the question again?
Should men start dating, or should women start dating older men just to solve for that disconnect between?
Oh, okay, okay. Now I got it. I got it. All right. So the thing, what I was wondering about was what age are these ladies who are looking for older men? Like how much older? I think when everyone's young, then they shouldn't go for someone that's older. I feel like when you get to that point where you're about maybe 30s and get a little bit older and you start to live life a little bit, then you'd be like, okay, I'm ready to settle down. Then you realize everyone in your friend group or around your age is not in that same mind state, then maybe you should look for someone that's older.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Like, I think it's weird if a 22-year-old is dating like a 40-year-old. Like, I'm, that's a
That's lonely to
generation.
me.
That's like a generation gap. But to your point, like, if you're 30 and you want to have kids, and all the guys that you know who are also 30 are like, yo, I'm still out here getting it. I'm still, trying to like chase chicks, then you might need the 40-year-old who's like, yeah, I did that. And I'm actually like excited and ready to settle down.
I gotta ask a question though. that doesn't bother you to date someone older, like that much older than you, or that wouldn't affect a lady, like to date someone older, because there's a bunch of complications and different things that comes with dating someone older. They may have kids, they may have a bunch of baggage and things like that. Of course, they have like funds and maybe more together, but I feel like there's some for a long term relationship there'd be a lot of issues.
So I've done it twice before. Um, One guy who was in his early 40s, another guy who was in his 50s. Um, and what I would say is, honestly, like, there's no perfect person. Like, with anybody you date, there's going to be some sort of complication. So with the older guy, for example, like, he might be set in his ways. Like you said, he might have kids already. Um, and really, a lot of it is just like he's set in his ways, like he's lived life. On the opposite end, though, it's usually somebody who's more eager to settle down because they either have never been married or, had chaotic relationships when they were younger. They're now mature. They're like more emotionally stable. Um, so it has its pros and it has its cons versus like you could date somebody who's, the same age and yeah, you like the same stuff and you want to have fun and you enjoy the same things, but also like he could be like, no, I'm not trying to get married and have kids for 5 years. You cannot be on that tip. There's no way to win. It's like you're gonna deal with something negative with whatever category you choose, unfortunately.
I hate that I'm being personal a little bit with this question here. When you were with the older male, um, was marriage in the cards?
Um, so with both, the relationships were like relatively short. Like one guy was like 6 months or whatever. Um, and then the other guy was a little bit shorter than that. But
But was that in your mind that
yeah,
you're dating someone older because I'm guessing that you want to be married and settled.
for sure. And so it was definitely a conversation that came up with both. And both of them were like, in terms of what they said, were like, yeah, I'm ready to get married. Like, I'm looking for that. And even in just like a short amount of time, we're also like, yo, I could potentially see that with you versus like guys our age aren't even really necessarily like talking about that.
Yeah, because I feel like we kind of gun shy, like you said. Like people still be trying to run around and do what they want to do and just live their separate lives. But I think that leads to a larger conversation of what marriage is, and I think that everybody has a different perspective on what it is and how they want their partner to be and stuff like that. And if you can find that in the older man, then that's fine. If you can find that in somebody your age as well, that's fine. But you just gotta, like you said, you gotta compromise regardless. Nothing is perfect with this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think also with the older person, I feel like they have more of their life and their finances, everything figured out. Where someone younger may be trying to still figure it out and how to get to a certain level of success. And maybe I'm speaking to this. Maybe ladies don't really want to grow with males and figure it out together.
I
I
saw
don't think
this.
that's like maybe that's what it is. Maybe they just want to just already be with someone who already got it and together and figured it out. They don't really want to grow with black men or just met or
so
grown men in general. I don't know.
so sure, there might be some women who feel that way, but I don't even think it's generally speaking what that is. I think it's the fact that like I'm going to use myself as an example. Um, Even if you are willing to grow with somebody, like I said, like as a woman, you do have, I hate to say it, like, but you do have a biological clock. So you need to be able to grow with that person and still like get married, have kids, whatever. Um, a lot of men feel like, oh, well, if I'm focused on growing right now, I can't settle down with you. I can't have kids. I can't get married, da 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 da. And it's like, well, I don't have 10 years to wait for you to, to get to where you want to get to, unless I freeze my eggs like these women are doing. So it really just depends on like if the man is able to say like, yo, I don't need to be at an XYZ certain financial standpoint to settle down with you. I can settle down now. We can build together now. We can have kids now. And over the long term, I'm going to focus on like growing and build with you. It's like a lot of guys don't, I think a lot of guys don't want to build with somebody, to be honest.
I'm gonna say this though. I think that women that might wait around for a dude or be like, "Oh, I'm gonna grow with him. I'm gonna show him how. I'm gonna mold him into the person." Like it's one of them type of things. Like I'm gonna mold him into
I
what I
hate
want him to be.
when a young girl will always be, I'm trying to mold you. Like you didn't even mold it yourself. Like how you gonna mold me?
Yeah, that's number one. But number two is people are who they are, and you can't really change somebody. So it's easier to find somebody that you click with just automatically how they are, and that you can accept as they are, right? And so all that growth shit, like yeah, niggas can grow, get more money. Yeah, they can go to therapy and shit like that. But the nigga gonna be who he is, and the woman gonna be who she is at the end of the day, right? And
No.
yes, yeah. What you mean? You disagree?
Like I don't get how you said people go through therapy and they go through life and they still who they are.
They are still who they are at the core of it, right? Like you still like what you like. You still like, you know what I'm saying, lasagna with extra cheese. You know what I'm saying? Like you still
I
who you
mean,
are.
I don't know. If I have to go through therapy and all that stuff, I'm like the point is to change you at the core. Like you trying to.
No,
Well,
no.
therapy is to give you tools. But therapy, to Matt's point, I don't think it really changes you at the core. But then again, I'm not a therapist. I don't know what it's supposed to do. But I've always perceived it as like giving you tools to like handle different situations, handle your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to have your like natural human instinct to certain situations.
I'm not paying for that. Like,
That's
why am
real
I
though.
pay for somebody if they don't change nothing or give me advice?
That's
They
not the
just,
point of it.
I'm saying to myself then. What?
That's not the
Like,
point.
give me
It's
some
not like that.
medicine. Help me.
It's not like a dentist where they can go fill a cavity and now your cavity good. Like you, like Jermaine said, like you get the tools to now when I go through this situation, now I can figure out who I'm, how I'm going to react to the situation or how I'm going to internalize it and stuff like that. It's not about, oh, you're going to come out a whole different person. That's not really how it is. But I guess to wrap this conversation up, so women freezing eggs, I think that I don't see anything wrong with it. Jermaine, I know you don't see anything wrong with it because you said that you had considered it before, but Rod,
I feel like we
Well,
all. I feel like we all said our opinions. I feel like we got.
well, it looked like Jermaine might.
Oh,
so like I said, I did consider it, but when you actually start researching into it, it's very different than what I thought. Like it's literally like a surgical procedure. Like I thought it was just like, I don't know, you pee in the cup and here are some eggs. Like, no, it's an actual surgery. A lot goes into it. That you got to take a lot of hormone shots and all this stuff. And it's also not guaranteed to work. Like just because you freeze your eggs doesn't mean you're like, whenever you want to have a kid, you'll naturally have one. Like it doesn't work that way. There's still other steps in the process. And the eggs only last for 10 years. So I probably was looking at freezing my eggs when I was maybe like 27, 28. And when I thought about it, I'm like, in the next 10 years, I better find a man. Like, no, I'm not going to freeze my eggs. Like, I'm going to bet on me. So, I mean, to each his own. Like, if there's a woman who wants to do it, go for it. But I think once you look into the other parts of it, it's like, you still need a partner. Like, instead of focusing that much energy on the procedure, like, you should also be focusing that energy on therapy, improving your relationship skills, like getting out there, meeting different guys, like figuring out what you want, trying to find somebody you can work with.
Mm-hmm. That's real. I think my whole view on the whole thing is everybody doesn't need a partner. Everybody doesn't need kids, and it's okay if you don't want kids. It's okay if you don't want to get married or you don't want to do this or do that. That society, because Rod pushed back on when I said like that's a societal thing, but it's okay to want to live your life how you want to live it. Like that's my standpoint on it.
to be real, when I read this article and what it came down to, I was just thinking like, why do women think if they have to freeze their eggs that they're gonna find a dude in the future? Like, like you're waiting to about 35, 40. Like, if you ain't find nobody by then, most likely nobody wants those eggs. Like, if I'm gonna be real, Like, like it's just dead. Like unless you get like go to sperm donor and
Honestly, I'm not mad at that take.
like they just feel like, oh, it's just all of a sudden if I freeze these eggs, it's gonna, I don't know. I feel like by that time it's too late.
The main thing that stood out in the article was there was um, um, the writer said something about like, yeah, a certain percentage of these women have never been in a serious relationship and they don't quite understand why. It's like, that's a red flag to me. That's a serious red flag.
Tell us why. Why you said that?
Because if you're a grown woman, especially somebody who's old enough to freeze their eggs, and you haven't been in a serious relationship, like you should be able to identify specific reasons. Like, yo, I've been too focused on my career. Hey, I haven't made dating a priority. Um, you know, hey, I need to fix myself. Like, I'm a little bit selfish. I'm in therapy trying to work on being less selfish, whatever. If you don't know why, like, that makes it seem like you think that you are perfect and that it's like all on the other person to find you and that you don't own any part of, of partnership.
I think most people are not really aware of themselves and they don't
Mm-hmm.
really
Facts.
think too deep into their actions. They just do, and what happens, and they learn along the way. Um, so when it comes to like communicating and understanding each other and all those steps like that, I feel like women's not are not really thinking about like, hey, like, oh, I can freeze these eggs, and like they're just kind of like your opinion earlier, like, yeah, I'm gonna find somebody. Like, I feel like they really believe that. Like, they wholeheartedly like feel like
Somebody's coming around.
somebody's coming when they haven't learned their lesson in 40 years. Like, it's just like,
Yikes.
uh, I just, like, it's just been like, all right, I'm gonna get off this topic, but I don't want to see you so misogynistic, but man, I just like, I didn't understand it. I was like, man, this article is pinning a lot of blame on men, and that may not be the issue, man.
It does take two people to be in a relationship, and it does physically take two people to have a baby. So,
This is true. This is true. Let's go ahead and move on to this next topic that we got. Related to kids, since we're talking about kids right now. So, looks like Kim Kardashian West. I don't know if we can still call her West or
I think
how
she
that
dropped
happened.
the West. Yeah.
Oh, she dropped the West. Damn, Kanye. Um, so it looks like she's getting North prepared to, kind of gear up and get in the spotlight. So she's trademarking things. Trademark her name. Something with some makeup coming out and some toys and other things like this. Like, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think it's too early? I think North is like 11, 10 years old or something. But how do y'all feel about this? Is this something that y'all feel like is going to be detrimental to her life? And we don't know the little girl, but
So North is 9.
9, okay.
Yeah. I got mixed feelings about it. Like, part of it is dope. It's dope to have a mom who's business savvy enough to be like, hey, let me prepare my 9-year-old and like get these trademarks for stuff she might want to do in 20 years when she's 29. Like, I understand the point of it. At the same time, it's also like, damn, she can't just be a kid for a little bit.
See, that's the thing there where I feel like her whole business and everything like that is actually just being ran by Kim, and she already has everything set in place for her. So it's not like her daughter really has to do anything. It's really just using her name, and Kim is doing everything. So, especially at that age. So, but I don't get why Kim would want to do this at such a young age for her, where she's at least let her like grow up and like grow creativity and her own sense of style before you start trademarking her name and creating products. Like, so she has some say in it more
Mm-hmm.
and like understanding of her own creative process, whatever. So I think it's just too soon. But I'm not mad at Kim Kardashian for trademarking her daughter's name and coming out with lines for her daughter, because it's like they're already growing up in a different space, the 1% per se. So it's like the daughter was already gonna come up in business and be a part of whatever her father or mother did or whatever. Most likely, she's gonna have a part of it anyways. She was already gonna be a fashion and music, most likely.
So do you see it as more supportive or exploitive?
I just don't. To be honest, like when I think of Northwest, it's just like, who wants to buy those clothes anyways? No one knows your daughter. Why would I want Northwest line?
Some
Like,
other little 9-year-olds might want it. They might make the kids skims.
it's like kids don't even they wear kids clothes and stuff like
Not
that. It's
today.
like
These kids today are grown.
that's just nasty to me. I don't even want to like. Why is Kim even putting a 9-year-old like as a face of a brand? Is just weird. But I mean, I do understand her trademarking it early. I think that's smart. But coming out with the actual line and putting all the work behind it, I think that should come later on in her years.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the trademark that's just smart business. Like, especially with a name like Northwest that could easily be used to brand so many other things. Like, it's a smart trademark, but it just seems early. I also feel like too, even if you just watch how the Kardashians have moved as a family, like they are definitely gearing up for Northwest specifically to be like the next Kylie. Like the way that Kylie was like 16 going crazy, they're gearing North to be the same way. Not even the other kids, like really pushing North.
Yeah, she's the oldest, so it makes sense to me. Like of their kids,
Yeah.
that they're pushing her first.
I have this theory though that like they're not gonna do the same with the other kids. I think they might even like let the other kids be kids longer, but like they see Northwest as a cash cow already. And shoot, even Kanye's kind of like pointed that out, the fact that he's scared that the Kardashians are gonna try to, pimp her out and like overly sexualize her as a kid.
To be real, I think the Kardashian name and everything has evolved. It's not so much hoish. Like that was the imprint on their name with Kim Kardashian. I don't think that's their imprint anymore. Once they reached the billionaire status and created brands and that reached that different level, um, I feel like you got to give them a little bit of respect in that sense, where they've built a brand up so huge that their daughters are growing up under that. They're not going to end up in that space of having to do what Kim Kardashian did anymore. Like how she gained fame in reality TV and everything like that. Like her daughters are not doing that most likely. Or their kids are not doing that. They've already transcended that level at this point. So their kids are like the next generation, and I think they're grooming them to be business and entrepreneurs. I think that is a smart thing to do. To be honest, like I I think Kim Kardashian and Kanye, they're right. I just think age and experience is needed in that process. That's the only thing I'm saying in that regard.
Well, I'm very curious to hear if Kanye says anything about this. I would love to hear Kanye's perspective. They've had Kanye on mute for a little minute too.
Nah, he just came back out. He was like, "Oh, I love Jews again."
Oh, you're right. I did see that today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Back from the dead. So, yeah, I think I agree with Rod. Like, I don't see anything wrong with the trademarking aspect. Like, that's smart. Like, that's a smart business move, and we all know that they smart business women and men over there, right? And so, yeah, like do that. But honestly, I don't care. Like, that's not my family, so them motherfuckers can do what they want to do. Like that's my whole thing on it. Like,
Yeah, to be real, I feel like they're already good. It's like
that's what I'm saying.
they're not going broke. Like they've reached that level where you can't go broke. Like you're already there.
100%. So, I mean, we're gonna see. Of course, they're gonna make money off of it. I do disagree, Ryan. Like, I do think the little 9-year-old girls will want to put on something Northwest. Like her and Blue Ivy gonna be the next ones. Just like
Yep.
really, like for the next. I don't even know what generation they in. But I don't think they Gen Z. They might be the generation after that.
I think so.
So it's like
Hopefully,
for
I can
them,
interview them when they get older.
I guess. I mean, that'll be cool. What they want to talk to your old ass for? Like, grandpa, get the fuck out of here.
I'm grandpa, but they parents pimping them out. That's what you just said. Right.
But that don't got nothing to do with each other. What you mean? That don't got nothing to do with each other at all.
Nigga, always trying to point someone out.
What you mean? How is that related? How is that related though? I don't understand. But I mean, sure, like North and Blue Ivy, if you want to come on a pod in like 10 years, we'll still be doing this. We'll still be right here. You know what I'm saying? So pull up. We'll have a good conversation. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and get into this next topic that we got. Concerts, man. What's the best concert y'all ever been to in your life?
Yeezy. Kanye's was the best concert I've ever went to. I went to the Yeezus right in Detroit at the arena. Man, he had naked women holding him up. He was wearing red Octobers. He had the mountain in the background. He had the auto tune. Oh my god, like Kanye is literally a genius. When it comes to visuals and everything like that.
You know what? What's funny about you saying that? I said that like 5, 6, 7 years ago to my cousin, and that nigga looked at me so crazy. Like, what you mean he a genius? I'm like, but I'm like, I was trying to justify like, nah, like musically he a genius. You know what I mean? And he looked at me sideways like 7 years ago.
I hate when a nigga be mad and be like, "What you mean he a genius?" Like you already know, like that implies that they think they a genius. And like you look at both of these situations, it's like it's obvious which one is the genius.
I mean, true. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I think. Go ahead.
So somebody can't say like, why do you think that person's a genius without thinking like that means that they think that they're a genius?
I think that implies that they don't think that person is as smart as everyone else does.
I think Kanye, like, we're not gonna talk about that anyway. Fuck Kanye. Anyway, Jermayne, what's the best concert you feel like you ever been to in your life?
That's a really hard one. I don't know if I have an easy answer. I'll say like probably one that comes to mind first is I saw Drake in this must have been like 2010. Like early. This is probably maybe one of his first US tours.
What album?
This was So Far Gone.
Damn.
Yep. So Far Gone. And so it was like a smaller venue. It was outdoors, and actually he shouted me out. I've been a Drake stan for a long time. Yep.
Drake shouted out Jermayne on stage.
How you know he pointed to you though? He could have been pointing to somebody next to you.
Because I at first didn't know he was talking to me, and then he was like described my outfit. He was like, "Yeah, I'm talking to you."
Okay.
Hater.
Okay.
What did he say?
Big hater. That was when he was doing I think Best I Ever Had. And so he was like trying to,
Oh, sweatpants,
hair tie.
hair ties.
Chilling with no makeup on.
And he just pointed at you. It was like
it wasn't quite like that. What haters? Haters, man.
Oh my no. So yeah, this next topic was pretty interesting. And the headline read, "I will feel guilty charging her $600. One of my 2 roommates moved out and my girlfriend is moving in. Should I charge her the same rent?" And that's just a question to you guys. What do you think?
So you're saying that somebody's moving out. So the roommate is moving out, and somebody's girlfriend is moving in. And
Yeah, he had a roommate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he had a roommate, and they're moving out, and the roommate's rent was $600. His girlfriend's moving in. Should he charge her $600 as well? The same rate that the roommate had. That's what he's wondering. That's his conundrum. Should he not charge her and let her just stay there for the free?
See, that's the problem
Or
with
maybe
men
pay like
these days.
solid.
Men don't.
He he feels weird charging her for the rent. That's why.
That's
how we
that's
having a
what I'm saying.
conversation.
Like, you better support your woman.
Exactly. That's an
You know
easy
what I mean?
one. I
Yeah.
don't understand
Next
why
topic.
that's a question.
No, just kidding. I'm just playing. Okay, let's have a real conversation about it. So, I think that me personally, though, I think in the past I was one of those 50-50 type of niggas where it's like, if I have, a serious girlfriend or a wife, like we're gonna have to split it 50-50. But I do think that, and I said this before, I'm not no super gender roles type of nigga, but I do think that a man should be able to support a woman. And I think if your girlfriend moving in, like you might as well just go ahead and foot the bill, right? I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. Now, we don't know what financial situation bruh's in. We don't know if he really need the extra 600.
Well, I can give you some more details.
Sure.
So he makes 70 and she makes about 60K. And he could pay for the mortgage completely himself, but he would have to cut back on other expenses. And then he wouldn't be able to save as much.
Now, he didn't say where they live at, though, right? I don't see that in the article at all.
No, I don't think so. And then another key point just to add in for context is he pays for 80% of the food, travel, and entertainment expenses when him and the girlfriend are together.
You know what? I think it comes down to a personal preference. If that's how y'all relationship is, then go ahead and pay.
Nah. Stay where you at. You were just talking about you ain't 50-50 no more.
I'm
you
not
supporting
50-50
it.
no more. No.
I am not with Metro no more.
No, what I was saying is I was 50-50, but now I'm a nigga where it's like, okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to foot the bill. I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? But that's not everybody's reality.
Clown.
What's wrong with that?
This is why women are freezing their eggs. That's why. That's why right there. Case closed.
If you got it, then you might as well just go ahead and do it. And everything that she make, that could be, you can buy you a new car with that. You can put a deck up.
What you think? Why do you think she's going to buy you a new car with that?
We in a relationship, right?
She's going to buy her some new clothes.
This is girl.
Yeah, like what you mean? Like
if she don't want to pay 600 up, what makes you think she's going to buy a car?
He didn't say that she didn't want to put the 600 up.
600's cheap. Like, if you can't pick 600 up, I'm not expecting you to do anything for me.
No. I'm saying I'm not even gonna ask her for the 600 from jump. I'm just gonna be like,
why not? She living there?
Why?
She in there?
Yeah, she is.
Why should she pay rent?
Because that's my wife or girlfriend. That's why.
Potential wife. It's his girlfriend.
Okay, so if this is good, I mean, I guess that changes things. You think that changes things? That it's not
absolutely.
So if it was his wife, you think he should probably do that?
Yeah, if his wife, yeah, do it. But girlfriend, nah, we going half.
Okay, why though? Let's expand on that.
Why? Mm-hmm. It's respect. First off, like you gotta respect yourself. Like wherever you stand, you should wanna provide for yourself. Like, how you gonna wake up in the morning every fucking day and be like, I don't pay to live here? So the first thing is respect.
Nigga, that's dope. You don't wish you could do that? What you mean? I wish I could do that shit. I'm trying to do that shit right now.
I'm saying, like, even my family, like, even my father looked at me like, after a while. Like, it didn't take him long to be like, I came to him after college, and I came to just stay for a little bit. And every day he would just look at me and be like, you know you're going to pay some rent, right? You know you're going to pay some rent.
See.
So, like, I feel, I don't know, I have that same idea.
That's different because that's you talking as a son, you know? Mm-hmm. They're in a romantic relationship.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to say. I always be saying this too, like when I be talking about things like this. It's different. It's different between a friendship versus a father-son or parental-child relationship versus.
I hate how romance like cut so much into finances. Like, what does paying your rent got to do anything about our love?
Nothing.
Make it deeper. Make it $600 a month deeper.
No.
I don't know. Like, you paying your fair share should have nothing to do about our love for each other.
See, me, I'm not even saying it as a love thing. I'm just saying I got it. Like, it's fine.
It don't matter that you got it. It's the principle.
What's the principle though?
You gotta pay
your own way.
Yes, that's
Forever.
life.
So when y'all have a joint bank account, then what?
We married. That's why I said if girlfriend and boyfriend, that's different. But married, that's we joint. Everything's together. Then I would count on like what Jermayne said earlier to say, hey, I might get a car with all this money, like because like all our finances is together. Like I can see it. It doesn't matter if I pay it all, but I'm paying it all. It's really we paying it all. But boyfriend, girlfriend, yeah, that's different. You got different accounts. You still working your way up to being together in a relationship. You still figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm not doing that. I'm not paying everything. Like, you think I'm a sucker? Like, I saw this recent, I don't know if it's a recent interview. It was like 50 Cent and Mary J. Blige. He said he has an issue when ladies ask him for something. And the reason why, he'd be like, do you think I'm a sucker? That's literally what he said to her. It's
Nigga,
like,
you are not 50 Cent. Stop it. Stop.
No, I have the same like mentality though. Like, I'm not like, why would I do that? Like,
Jermayne, please go, because I'm tired of listening to this nigga.
So, okay, here's my thing. It's because they make about the same amount of money. Like, sure, in theory, it could be 50-50, but you were already living in this place. Like, it's already your house. So if you could already pay the mortgage on your own, then like...
No, he had a roommate.
Yeah, but in the article, he said that he can pay it on his own. So...
He could, but he wasn't though before.
But he could. So I feel like he should continue to be able to pay it on his own. But on her end, I also don't think that you should be like ungrateful. Like, there are other expenses that she should pick up. So if he's paying for...
Ungrateful? He's been providing 80% of like their outings. He said that later in the and he still pays for his rent. Like, she should be... Okay.
No. I'm saying she shouldn't be ungrateful. So she should... If he's paying for, she's not paying any rent or anything, then she should be the one who's buying groceries. She should be the one who's taking care of all of like the stuff around the house. Like, she should still be doing something. She shouldn't just be like, sitting on the couch and like pocketing every dollar. She should still be contributing. If he was paying for 80% of the dates, then that means that she should probably start picking up some of those dates herself. Like, hey, don't worry, I got the next trip because you're the one who's paying the mortgage. Like, she should definitely be contributing, but like, I don't think she needs to pay $600 a month.
Which, like Rod said, $600 ain't shit. Like, if you make $60K a year, that's really nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. $600. I'm like, why can't you pay $600? If the rent was higher, if the rent was about $3,000.
But what if she spent...
You don't got to go 50-50 with me then.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be 50-50.
But if it's 600, you got to come off that 600. Come on now. Like, it's a difference. Like, if the rent was higher...
Look, this is why I'm saying no, because this is why what I was saying earlier is because everything, I can pay for the rent. We could play with everything we can play with all that 60,000.
That's what I'm saying. You go crazy off the 60 then. If you're in a couple, yeah.
But we don't know what kind of debt. Like, there's a lot more information I would need to make a real financial decision. Like, what kind of debt do they have? They have student loans. Do they have credit card bills? All that type of shit.
I'm going to go with what y'all saying. For sure.
No. I mean, you can feel how you want to feel. I'm just saying, like...
No, I'm not doing enough. Like, I got to pay more. Obviously, I got to be a trick. That's what y'all want me to do.
No, it ain't... You can't trick
y'all want me to pay for everything.
But it's not a trick if it's your girl.
Like, that's a committed relationship, right?
I don't understand why savings only is a feminist trait, like savings. But when it's males, like say, I'm just like, I'm not understanding the relation.
This nigga trying to get the Andrew Tate fan base. Okay, I understand. but the nigga said, I need a new roof, right? I need a new roof. Like I'm gonna have to replace the roof at some point. So it's like I said, with the 60,000, we could play with that. We could be like getting a new roof, we get remodel the bathroom,
exactly,
we could put new floors in and all that type of shit.
Yeah, you're right.
You really, but no, I do understand where you're coming from, right? Because if it's really your girlfriend, you don't really know how long that relationship really will last. You don't know if she gonna run off with your best friend or something. You know what I mean? You don't know what's
and
gonna
still
happen.
Have all her bread,
all of it, and
every last dime.
And I understand where you're coming from, but sometimes you got to invest in it. Like sometimes you got to put yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in a committed relationship.
And she's still gonna keep the hoodie.
I hate that type of shit. Give me my shit back. I like that hoodie. You know what I'm saying? I like that t-shirt.
Have the hoodie and paid. I'm sick of it.
Well, listen, I think we had a good conversation here. We didn't all agree. It's okay. We don't always have to agree, but other than that,
I just feel like there's multiple sides to every situation. It's not always
it is
black and white. Sometimes it's gray.
It is.
True.
Most things in life are. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these highlights for the week. Wrap it up. We gave the people what they wanted. So, do y'all have anything to highlight this week?
Well, I have something that fingers crossed is going to be a highlight. So actually, I'm getting ready to go to a pre-screening of Air, the new movie about the creation of Jordan. So I'm excited.
Okay, that's pretty dope.
Who's in that airing? I heard it's a lot of big stars.
Yeah, I know. Matt Damon's in it. Viola Davis.
Legend. Okay, that's dope.
Oh, Ben Affleck's in it too. Chris Tucker. Okay.
Really? Wow, that's some heavy hitters right there. That's for like real
actors.
Season, like for real. That's dope. This week, let me go ahead and highlight this new artist that one of my homeboys put me on named Rich Amiri. Like came out of nowhere. I had never heard of this dude ever in my life, but his music is actually pretty dope. It's like some new nigga shit. Like I can't really explain like how it sounds, but it's like the new rap that the kids and the teeny boppers listen to. It was pretty dope. But listen to the album Evolution by Rich Amiri. That shit was pretty dope to me. Rob, what you got this week?
All right, so this week I'm going to a soccer game, as I've talked about in previous episodes. I'm getting more into the soccer realm and understanding the fans. So I'm about to go check out the Houston Dynamo FC. And yeah, I'm going to go check out the stadium, and hopefully I'm hoping it's the same way as the Red Bulls and the same type of fans, or maybe even bigger.
Yeah, I know soccer fans are crazy.
Yeah. So I'm hoping in Texas there's a lot of Hispanic in the area, so I'm sure maybe it get a little crazy. So that's what I'm trying to get into tonight.
Let's end this episode before we get canceled. You talk about all right, let's go. This has been the Friends Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we out. Peace out.
Hey.
Peace.